Hey, this is Bunny, and today, while I'm painting this little enchanted fountain, I want to talk about something that comes up again and again in tabletop role-playing, especially in Dungeons and Dragons. It's the idea that small moments often matter far more than big plot twists, even though we tend to obsess over the big, dramatic stuff when we're planning campaigns or building characters. When we think about memorable D&D stories, we usually jump to the huge moments. The shocking betrayal, the surprise villain reveal, the dramatic death, the world-ending threat that changes everything. Those moments are flashy, sure, and they feel important, so it makes sense that they get all the attention. But when you really sit with the memories that stick with you years later, it's usually not those moments that are going to come up first. Instead, it's the quiet stuff, the unexpected laugh at the table, a short conversation that wasn't planned, a small choice a character made that felt very true to who they were in that moment. Those are the scenes that tend to live in our heads long after the campaign ends. That's why this little fountain feels like such a perfect mini to paint while talking about this particular subject. It's not a castle or a dragon or some massive, imposing centerpiece. It's a small, contained object. But in a story, something like this could mean so much. It could be a meeting place, a place of rest, a sacred site, or just a quiet landmark everyone remembers because something meaningful happens here. Big plot twists are exciting, but they're also loud. They demand attention. They often happen because the story says it's time for something big to happen. Small moments, on the other hand, tend to be earned. They grow naturally out of play. They come from characters interacting with each other and the world in ways that aren't always scripted or predictable. Think about how many times a campaign has slowed down unexpectedly. The party camps for the night. Someone takes first watch. Another character joins them. Nothing important is supposed to happen there. There's no combat, no revelation, no ticking clock. And yet those are often the moments when characters actually become real. A character might admit a fear they've never talked about before. Someone might crack a joke that perfectly captures the tone of the group. A bond might form quietly, without dice rolls or dramatic narration. Those scenes don't look impressive on paper, I know, but they're powerful because they're personal. Big twists can only land if we care about the characters involved. And caring about those characters almost always comes from those smaller interactions. You don't care because the story tells you to care. You care because you spent time with them. You've seen them hesitate and fail and joke and make choices that weren't optimized, but felt right in the moment. This is where a lot of campaigns accidentally go wrong. There's so much pressure to keep things exciting that DMs and players sometimes rush from one major beat to the next. The world is always in danger. The stakes are always sky high. And ironically, that can make everything feel flatter instead of more dramatic. When everything is big, nothing feels big. Constant escalation leaves no room to breathe. Small moments give contrast. They give weight to the big stuff when it finally happens. A dramatic sacrifice hits harder when you remember the quiet conversation that character had by a fire 10 sessions earlier. Small moments also allow players to surprise themselves. A lot of character growth doesn't come from planned arcs. It comes from reacting honestly in the moment. Someone says something unexpected, and you realize that your character would respond in a way you hadn't thought about before. Suddenly, your understanding of your own character deepens. That kind of growth, it can't be forced. You can't schedule it. You can only create space for it to happen. And that space is usually found in scenes that seem unimportant at first glance. Even mechanically, Small moments often matter more than we realize. A failed roll that leads to an awkward conversation. A success that creates an unforeseen complication. A choice not to act when action would have been easier. These moments shape the tone of the campaign far more than a perfectly executed plan ever will. Players tend to remember how things felt, not how impressive they were. They remember being nervous or amused or conflicted or quietly satisfied. Those feelings usually come from moments that weren't designed to be epic at all. This is especially important to remember as a dungeon master, but it applies just as much to players. You don't have to manufacture drama to be interesting. You don't have to constantly chase bigger stakes or darker twists. Sometimes the most meaningful contribution you can make is letting a scene play out without trying to rush it. Let a conversation linger. Let characters sit with uncertainty. Let silence happen at the table. Those pauses often invite something real to emerge, something no one could have planned. As a player, giving yourself permission to engage with small moments can be incredibly freeing. You don't have to wait for your big scene. You don't have to save everything for some dramatic reveal. Showing who your character is in small ways builds a foundation that makes every future moment stronger. That's why I love thinking about small set pieces like this little enchanted fountain that's taking no time at all to finish. In a game, this might be where characters refill their water skins, or toss a coin, or pause for a simple moment of rest. But over time, it could become symbolic. The place where they first trust each other. The place they return to after something went horribly wrong. The place that quietly marks just how far they've come. None of that requires a plot twist. It just requires time, attention, and presence. Big plot twists still have their place. They can be fun and dramatic and satisfying when done well. But they're not the heart of what makes tabletop role-playing memorable. That heart lives in the small, human moments that happen when no one is trying to impress anyone else. Those are the moments that make a campaign feel alive. Those are the moments that make characters feel real. And those are the moments that people talk about years later, long after the details of the plot have faded into memory. So, as you're playing or running a game or even planning a campaign, don't underestimate the power of the small stuff. Let the fountain matter. Let the quiet conversations matter. Let the moment that wasn't supposed to be important become the one that everyone remembers. That's about it for today. Let me know in the comments what a small moment from one of your games was that struck with you longer than any big plot twist. I'd love to hear your stories. I hope you'll be back with us next time. Bye!